Okay, can we start? Yeah, so we will discuss the second topic today. We have already done with emergence of sociology. Okay, so we will discuss about the scope of sociology in this session. Okay, now see, scope of the subject and comparison with other social sciences. So comparison I will not be doing now. We will do that later. Scope of the subject we will discuss in this session. But again, even when I discuss about the scope of the subject, you have just started sociology. We have just discussed what is the emergence of sociology or in which context sociology emerged. So we have discussed about, am I audible? Am I audible? Others?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it's your problem, Saurav. Okay, so when we discuss about the scope of the subject, we just started off with the subject, right? And we have just discussed about the emergence of the subject. So it will be very difficult if I tell you what is the scope of the subject now, and you may think, it is very difficult. So the point what I want to tell you is, I will give you the answer for this question, but just listen to that and ignore it at this point of time, because this is going to be so easy for you once we complete the syllabus. Because once we complete the syllabus, you will be like a sociologist. Okay, so once we're done with the syllabus, the topics that we discuss, then it will be very easy for you to write from your side what is the scope of sociology. So at that point of time, you will not face any problem. But when I discuss the scope of sociology at this point of time, I take up a lot of thinkers and I will discuss about this thinker is talking about this and that thinker is talking about this, and all these things will make it slightly confused. But all these thinkers we are going to study, and we will do all these thinkers systematically. So once we complete the thinkers, it will be very easy for you. And you take it in this way, that today's session is a glimpse of what we are going to discuss in future. So if you can take it in that way, it won't be difficult. Otherwise also, this chapter, to make you understand the topic, it is very easy for me and I will do that. But the point is the thinkers, the names and all these concepts that we are going to discuss in future. So once we've done that, it will be very easy. So that is the main idea. Okay, so here we will discuss the scope of sociology. What I'll do is, any question from the first three chapters, you should write the first line about the emergence of sociology. So first line should be always related to emergence of sociology. So what all things we have discussed in the previous session, that is modernity, social changes in medieval Europe, how it led to emergence of sociology, all those things has to be there in your first line. In a single line, how can you accommodate that? I'll give you a sentence, just cut, copy, paste exactly the same thing. So you can write sociology emerged in response to challenges posed before modernity in medieval Europe. So we are talking about the emergence, we are talking about medieval Europe, we are talking about modernity, and we have also discussed about challenges. So what I'm saying is, sociology emerged in response to challenges posed before modernity in medieval Europe. So everything is actually incorporated in that particular line. Okay, then after that, what happened? The different thinkers, different intellectuals, different contribution from their side. So the scope of sociology actually widened, and the scope of sociology can be understood in different stages. So we will try to see the different stages in sociology. For example, the initial stage 1838 to let's say 1880, that is the initial stage. I'll discuss about one or two thinkers here, and then let's talk about 1880 or 1880 to 1940, the second stage, and then 1940 to 1990 I can discuss about the third stage, and then 1990 to till now, this could be the fourth stage. But see, there is no such clear-cut distinction or any separation is there. Okay, no thinker, nobody is talking about this kind of distinction, but I'm doing it for the purpose of making you understand easily. So we will do that here, and then once we complete the thinkers, you will understand everything. So here, the first phase is mainly related to, we will discuss about here Auguste Comte. Okay. So Auguste Comte, the founding father of sociology, he discussed the scope of sociology in terms of social statics and social dynamics. Just need to write this two only. And in his book System of Positive Polity and the Course of Positive Philosophy, he delineated the scope of sociology in terms of social statics and social dynamics. Statics means what? That static elements. Dynamics means changing things. For example, when you prepare for this exam, we say there are some static subjects, right? History, geography, polity, economy, and there are dynamic. What is that? Current affairs, science and technology, etc. Like that. In society, there are some things which will exist like that, and there will be something which will change. What is existing like that? The structure of society will be the same, okay, but there will be social changes. So ultimately, when I talk about social statics and social dynamics, it's about the study of structure and change. Okay, so a sociologist should study the static as well as dynamic part. That means completely. Secondly, another person that we are going to discuss is Herbert Spencer. So we will see all these names again and again and again later. Now it may be new to you, but don't worry about that. Herbert Spencer, he compares sociology like biology. So in sociology we are studying human beings, okay, or we are studying society. In sociology we are studying society. So he compares society with what biology study? Organism. Okay, so he compares society with an organism, and this is the comparison that he make, and you will see. Okay, society he compared with organism, and within society you will see subsystems like educational system, political system, okay, economic system, etc. Similarly, in organism you will see different organs, right? And again, subsystem can be divided into different groups. Organ, again you can see tissues. And finally, the ultimate reducible element of society is an individual. Just like in organism, these are the cells. Okay, so that comparison is made. That is the first part, and these people are talking about studying macro realities. I will tell you what is macro. Macro means the broad concept giving importance to society. Okay, and using a positivist approach. This also we will discuss in the next session. You will understand in detail. Okay, then in the next phase, this phase we will discuss two main important thinkers, Weber and also Durkheim. In fact, these two thinkers we need to discuss in detail in the chapter of thinkers, so you will understand in depth of these thinkers. I can simply talk about one or two sentences about these thinkers at this point of time. So obviously you may face some difficulty, but still we will make it very clear in the coming sessions. Okay, so just now, just before the start of the session, I have told you this is a prelude to what we are going to do, or this is a glimpse of what we are going to do. All these names that we are discussing here and all these concepts that we are discussing here will be completed in detail in the coming session. You don't want to worry about any of these concepts, even if you are not able to understand at this point of time. I am sure that you may not understand this positivist and these concepts that I have discussed, but we will do it. Okay, so here, just because the scope of sociology is given in the beginning itself, I am discussing what all things we need to cover in future. Completely I am discussing here. In fact, it should be done towards the end. It would have been more easy, because if you ask to me what is the scope of sociology, I can easily tell you because I know the syllabus. If you ask to any sociologist, it will be easy for that person. But at this point of time, if I ask you, you don't know the scope of sociology. But once you complete, it will be easy for you, and you don't want this answer which I am giving you. What I'm giving you, the answers, all the PDFs is exactly from the exam point of view, to the point, nothing more, nothing less is there. Okay, so here Weber tried to study society by using a micro perspective. Durkheim is using a macro perspective. Now the difference between these two is, macro perspective is giving importance to society. It is a society centric approach. Micro, when we are discussing, that is giving importance to the individuals. Okay, so that again we will discuss. So one person is giving importance to individual and individual meanings. The other person is giving importance to society. Micro and macro. And Weber defined the scope of sociology as studying social action. You study social action, that is the scope of sociology. Study social action and establish the meanings attached by the actor. For example, we all are doing some action. I am doing an action here. So what you need to do, you have to establish the meanings attached by the actor to the action. You are doing an action, you are sitting in the class, you are listening to the class, so you are doing an action. So understand the meaning established by the, or meanings that the actor hold while performing this action, or the meanings attached by the actor to the action. If you can understand the meaning that is attached by the actor to the action, you can establish cause and effect relationship. Cause and effect relationship means why you are doing this action and what is going to be the outcome. Why you are doing this and what is going to be the outcome. Outcome will be you will become an IAS officer. Why you are doing it? You want to become an IAS officer. So if you can establish the meaning, you can establish the cause and effect. So a sociologist, what she should do is study social action, establish cause and effect by understanding the meaning. That's micro approach. Macro, for them it is about the study of social facts. Sociology study about social facts. Social fact is a theory for you, we will discuss in detail. Social action is a theory by Weber, also by Parson. So in detail we need to discuss all these things. For each and every point that I am discussing here, I'll spend one day each. Okay, so even if you are not able to understand, take it in this way. This is what we are going to do in future. So that won't make you scared. Okay. Otherwise, when I discuss too much of thinkers and too much of concept in this session, it will be difficult, I know that. Then after this, during this time, Weber micro, Durkheim macro. So now two schools of thought emerged, one following micro approach, the other following macro approach. This school is actually formal, this is known as formal school of thought, and this school of thought is synthetic school of thought. All these we will see in the notes. And then during 1940s, what is understood is you are following micro, you are following macro. Micro means internal aspect, macro means external, that is a society. So if you are following micro, you are ignoring the external aspect. If you are following macro, you are ignoring the internal aspect. So both are partial understanding of reality. So what you need to do? You need to mix micro and macro. Both are required. So you can see during this time, Parson went for an integrated approach, micro and macro. Merton also. And Merton went for different concepts like middle range theories. We will discuss all those. And then you will see inductive deductive approach combination. What is inductive approach? What is deductive approach? We will discuss in research methods. Okay. So again, scientific humanistic approach. What you need to know is that during this phase, there will be a mixing of different approaches will happen. And the last phase, the new phase, whatever you come across, you can write. Sociology is permeating through each and every aspect of social life, and the scope of sociology is gradually widening and going to each and every field. There is a clinical sociology, there is a criminal sociology, there is a sociology of health. Different dimensions are there for sociology. Industrial sociology is there. So sociology is now studying each and every aspect. So the scope of sociology is widened like anything. Okay, so it is unlimited again. So this is how we can explain this topic. Very simple topic. If you get a question, must attempt. This is what required in your answer, and this is enough. Okay, nothing else is required. It is a very well prepared answer. It is complete in itself. 10 marker will be asked, and you have more content here. Parson after 1940, yeah, during 1940, 1990. During this time, Parson, Merton, C. Wright Mills, different thinkers will come. So let me go through the PDF. Now, most of the things you will understand. If you are not able to connect it, but still try to see this as a answer, and just go through this. You will be in a position to remember this as an answer, but all these things we will study in detail later. Even if you are not able to understand any point, you don't want to worry. I'll promise you, once we complete the paper 1, you will be very strong in paper 1. All these concepts will be very clear to you. So the questions will be like this: scope of sociology direct, discuss the scope of sociology, compare it with other sciences. This comparison also now I am not taking. Why? Because if you see comparison, sociology and economy, okay, once we complete the syllabus, you will be in a position to compare any subject with sociology in a very good way. Because when we discuss about thinkers, Karl Marx, his theories, you will see it is connected to economy, connected to philosophy, connected to political science. Okay, similarly Durkheim, Weber, different connections you can see from thinkers itself. And in my opinion, there is no point in looking for any guide Okay, you will go through the guides and you will see table here, this side, here sociology, here economy. That's not required. Once we complete it, you will be in a position to do it. It is very easy and it is not required to remember or mug up all those things. That's not desirable and that's not expected also. Seeing the answer itself, the examiner will understand. I am evaluating hundreds of papers every day. Okay, there's so many test series students are there. So I can see even though they are not taking classes from me, the test is taken, right? Across India, people are writing. So all the people just follow the guide, the textbook, the standard textbook, make 2 columns and write. Seeing that itself, from which source you got also, we can understand. And there is no conceptual understanding, just cut, copy, paste. You won't get any mark. But if you can compare it with the thinkers and if you can write, that's going to be good. And no effort also for you. Those people who don't have, that training, they're just following the notes, they have no other option. They just mug it up and they reproduce. But that's not enough. That's not a good approach. I don't want you to do that. That's why the lecture is systematically arranged. Once we complete it, it will be over for you automatically. So sociology, this is the first line that you can write. In all topics from the first 3 chapters, sociology emerged as a distinct discipline in response to challenges posed before modernity in medieval Europe. So we talked about medieval Europe, we talked about modernity, we talked about challenges and emergence of sociology. Everything that we have discussed in the previous session is there in this particular sentence. Initially, sociology was understood as a discipline which will help in understanding the changes in the society, right? Because sociology emerged to explain the changes. Initial sociologists intended to develop sociology on the line similar to natural sciences. So this is again a very important sentence. Initial sociologists, they wanted to make it similar to natural science. So if you remember in the previous session, I've told you Saint Simon even thought of social physics that is analogous to natural science, the science of society. And the scope of sociology is gradually widening because of the contribution of so many thinkers. In order to be a scientific discipline, the scope of sociology need to be defined clearly. So there's a distinction you can see. There's the initial phase up to 80 and then 1940, 40 to 90 up till now. There's not a clear-cut distinction. You cannot see this in any textbooks or anything, but for the purpose of understanding it in a simple way, I've made it like this. Initially, the sociologists attempted to understand society as a whole in terms of macro units. So initial approach was mainly giving focus to society by using macro perspective. Auguste Comte, the father of sociology, in his book Course of Positive Philosophy and System of Positive Polity, delineated the scope of sociology into social statics and social dynamics. Social statics is the basic factor of social order. That means the structure and which give every system its stability. So statics means those not changing part, that is the structure. Social dynamics is the inevitable evolutionary development of all. Evolutionary development means change. So social static means a structure, social dynamic is a change. So sociology is about studying social structure and social change. So if you see your paper 2 syllabus, there are 3 parts. In the second part it is social structure, third part it is social change. First part it is about thinkers and other concepts. And the book which I have told you, KL Sharma, paper 2, what you need to buy, I have told you, right? That book name is also Social Structure and Change. Comte argued for framing laws of social organization in order to develop sociology as a scientific discipline. Herbert Spencer in his book Principles of Sociology compared society with an organism. By using a macro perspective, here again is a macro perspective, he delineated the scope of sociology in terms of its macro units like family, politics, religion, industry, associations, etc. His scope is more descriptive in nature. According to him, sociology should study the interrelationship among different elements of society, woven together in some intricate yet meaningful pattern. So what you need to do? Sociology should be studying the interrelationship between different elements. So there is an interrelationship between elements and they all are connected together in an intricate manner, but there is a meaningful pattern. So there is a purpose that you need to identify. So society, organism. Subsystem, he combined with organ. Group, tissue. Last element in society, individual, like organism, cell. Thus, initially the scope of sociology is based on macro-humanistic view. The social investigation work to be conducted in an inductive approach. Inductive approach means normal approach which is used in natural science. So if you remember, in your +2 you might have conducted experiments in the labs, right? If you talk about physics lab, what you do, you conduct an experiment, you measure some data, and you make some calculation, you make some interpretation, you make some graphs and charts, and based on that you will make a conclusion. So that process that you follow, that is actually inductive approach. This is generally followed in natural science. Okay, so inductive approach means general normal approach that you follow, right? In natural science, like you collect data, you conduct the investigation, and then make the analysis, make charts, okay, and then come up with a conclusion, and you will test that, and it will be replicable. In case of sociology, mostly we use the opposite, that is deductive approach. In that, first you make a hypothesis. For example, when I conduct a study on domestic violence, I make a hypothesis that domestic violence is because of alcoholism, and then I will collect data and then I'll try to prove it. Okay, so that is mainly the difference. In case of inductive approach, I will collect data and I'll make all these analysis. Finally, I will conclude that it is based on alcoholism or dowry or whatever it is. But in the deductive approach, first I make a hypothesis. I'll make an idea. I'll make a mindset that this is the reason, and then I'll collect data. So obviously biasness will be there. That is a problem with deductive approach. Okay, after 1880, the second phase, the scope of sociology was further widened by Max Weber by introducing a micro perspective in sociology. Micro means individual centric perspective. According to him, sociology is a science which study the social action taken by the individual and thereby arrive at an explanation of cause and effect relationship. For him, understanding the meaning attached by the actor whose action is the basic scope of sociology. So what you need to do, study the social action. Once you study the social action, establish the cause and effect relation. That means you are doing an action, social action, you are attending the class. Establish the cause and effect relation, right? How, why you are doing this and what will be the effect. How can you do that? Understand the meaning attached by the actor. If I can understand the meaning attached by you while you are attending this class, it is easy for me to establish the cause and effect. That's what. Individual behavior, yes. And on the other hand, Emile Durkheim delineated or differentiated sociology, the scope of sociology, delineated the scope of sociology as the study of social fact. Here, study of social action. Study of action. This is action, this is facts. Both are separate theories, okay? Don't worry about this. He proposed a macro view for identifying elements qualifying to be social facts. During this period, two books, Methods of Social Sciences by Weber and Rules of Sociological Method by Durkheim, played a significant role in explaining the scope of sociology. Towards the end of 19th century and the beginning of 20th century, sociology came to be taught as discipline in different universities of Europe and America. During these periods, scope of sociology came to be understood in terms of two schools, formal school and synthetic school. Formal school are the followers of Weber. Social fact, that is what I have told you, social facts will be discussed as a separate theory under Durkheim later. So in fact, if you need to know what is social fact is a concept which is given by Durkheim. Social facts are the ways of acting, thinking and feeling which are external to individual and are endowed with the power of coercion by the reason of which they control over him. So if I tell you the definition of social fact, you will not understand anything. It is a 1 hour discussion. It is a theory in itself that I will do in Durkheim. Okay, in fact, you can understand now everything is social fact. Religion is a social fact. Family is a social fact. Social fact are the ways of acting, thinking and feeling. That means everything is a social fact. We'll do that later. Even social action also. So formal school means Weber. Synthetic school, followers of Durkheim. Weber means it's the followers of micro and this is the followers of macro. So the formal school followed a micro perspective, as I've told you, by Weber and took a limited view of scope of sociology. According to them, sociology should confine itself to describing, classifying and analyzing the micro units like activities, emotions, behaviors, relationships, etc., love, hatred, etc. For example, Weber understood sociology as study of social action and the meanings attached by the actor to his action. 2 or 3 people are also given here. You can write that Similarly, Veer Kant used mental relationship like hatred, love, competition, etc. Von Weiss identified the scope of sociology in terms of fundamental social process, that means the ways of interaction. Tawny's in terms of social relationship. Mainly you need to write Weber, and one or two is enough. Okay, you don't want to keep on writing too much of thinkers. We don't have time or space. Then synthetic school, this is by Durkheim and by the followers of macro phenomena, macro approach. According to this, the scope of sociology is to concentrate on macro phenomena. According to them, the relevance of a particular social phenomena must be understood in the context of wider reality. It emphasizes on studying society as a whole. Okay, Durkheim identified the scope in terms of three principal divisions: social morphology, social physiology, and general sociology. So you can read this: social morphology, social physiology, etc. We will discuss that in Durkheim in detail about this. Karl Mannheim divided sociology into two main sections: general sociology and historical sociology. So far what we have discussed is 80 to 40. 1880 to 1940. We have discussed about Weber. Okay, Weber. We have discussed about micro. We have discussed about Durkheim. We have discussed about macro. So Weber, micro, and studying social action. Durkheim, macro, studying social facts. And this is internal aspect. This is external aspect. This is formal school. This is synthetic school. Okay, 1838 to 40 or 80, we have discussed about Auguste Comte, studying social statics and social dynamics. Herbert Spencer also we have discussed. Now 1940s onwards, the scope of sociology was further enriched by the use of combination of micro and macro aspect. Why combination? Because if you are following micro, you are ignoring macro. If you are following macro, you are ignoring micro. Both are required. Internal as well as external, both are required. Talcott Parsons, in his book The Structure of Social Action and the Social System, dismantled the dichotomy of micro and macro to develop an integrated view of scope of sociology. We will discuss this in detail in Parsons. According to him, sociology should aim at developing generalized theories. Similarly, Robert Merton proposed development of middle range theories by using middle range phenomena. So what is middle range theory? This in itself is actually a question, and this we will discuss under Merton. That is another topic. Generalized theory, that is another context that we need to discuss under Parsons. All these integrated view, everything will be covered in the thinkers. So what all thinkers I have used here, all these thinkers are there in your syllabus. So we will discuss that in detail. Karl Popper combined inductive and deductive approach to develop more holistic viewpoint. C. Wright Mills in the sociological imagination approach combined scientific and humanistic approach. The scope of sociology further received boost by different perspectives like structuralism, phenomenology, ethnomethodology. We will discuss this there in the syllabus. We will discuss this there in the syllabus. Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, we are going to take up these discussions. Okay, so, and recently, with the emergence of postmodern approach, the trend towards multidisciplinary view is visible. New fields of study are being gradually added to the sociology which are traditionally not considered part of it. For example, sociology of health, criminal sociology, clinical sociology, industrial sociology, etc. are finding permanent place in scope of sociology. So, what should be your conclusion? The scope of sociology is gradually widening, and this was made possible also due to the incorporation of different methodologies with time. This also we are going to discuss in different thinkers, various concepts, various methods like indirect experiment, comparative analysis, causal pluralism, multivariate analysis. So many methods we are going to discuss, but all are very easy only. Only the name is difficult. We will take care of everything. Don't worry about that. Okay. Different perspective required an emphasis on different aspects of social reality. For example, functional perspective had a more humanistic orientation, which resulted in identification of key components of society which are essential for social order maintenance. Similarly, conflict perspective highlighted the contradictions resulting in enrichment of the scope. So these are two perspectives that I am introducing now, but we will discuss this in detail. This functional perspective will be discussed under Durkheim, and conflict will be discussed under Marx. For example, when you study about family, Durkheim will identify the functions of family, functional perspective. Or religion, you will identify the function of religion as integrative agent, integrating role. But Marx, using a conflict perspective, identify the disintegrating influence or dysfunctions. Like religion is opium of masses. Religion is the hurt of hurtless world, soul of soulless condition, and opium of mass. That is according to Marx. Similarly, family is an exploitative device according to Marx, because of family only you are going to work, because of the pressure from family. So family is actually creating the laborers who's getting exploited at the workplace, and because of family only you are becoming a passive conformist. You are not going for any revolution or anything. Okay, so constitution is the document of bourgeois according to Marx. That is a dysfunction understanding. The parliament is the executive committee of bourgeois. So these are different perspectives. We will discuss that. The positivist quantitative methodology relied heavily on empirical reality. We will discuss what is quantitative method, whereas non-positivist included internal, hidden and abstract aspects within the scope. So positivism, non-positivism are your next topics. Other aspects of methodology like use of different methods like data collection, inductive deductive approach also has to be seen in the same way. Now here comparison with other subjects, I have given you an introduction. Okay, so here there is an introduction for comparison with other subject. Content I will give you later. This is an introduction. Sociology as a separate discipline emerged in response to challenges posed before modernity in medieval Europe. As the scope of the subject matter widens, some of the sociologists consider sociology as a synthesis of all the social sciences, and the discipline is fabricated by running a thread through all the sciences like economy, sociology, philosophy, sociology, political science, sociology. We will discuss everything about this. Don't worry about this. Okay, I will connect everything with thinkers. That's when you get more and better marks rather than mugging up the tables which are giving in the guides. I don't want anyone to do that. I'll make you to write an answer from your side by using the thinkers that you're going to learn. We will connect everything. Okay. This debate arises with the subject matter of sociology, which is coming closer to other sciences. Just before I have told you clinical sociology, criminal sociology, sociology of health, industrial sociology, etc. Right? So X is one of the subjects. So whatever is asked, you can put here one of the social science related to sociology in many aspects. Thus, we can see that sociology and this particular subject show many similarities as well as contradictions, differences in their subject matter and in the methodology. So this is your concluding part. Therefore, the relation of sociology and that particular subject is considered to be mutual exchange and mutual stimulation. We are saying both are mutually beneficial. No one is superior or inferior. So what I've discussed today is I've divided into 4 phases. Okay. So I'll repeat: 1838 emergence to 1880, 1880 to 1940, and then 1940 to 1990, and then 92 till now. So here I have discussed about Auguste Comte, social statics and social dynamics, and his book Course of Positive Philosophy and System of Positive Polity, and we have discussed about Herbert Spencer. Here we have discussed about Weber, social action, and by using micro perspective, understand the meaning, belongs to formal school. Then we have discussed about Durkheim, okay, social fact, macro approach, synthetic score. See, this kind of clarity you will get automatically. You don't want to compare with me at this point of time. It's been 10 years in this field. Okay, so many people I've seen that compare it with me. That's not required because I've taken 10 years and you're just attending. So it take time. Once you complete the syllabus, it's going to be very easy for you and you'll get this clarity. So 1940 to 90, if you see Parson, we have discussed. Merton, we have discussed. So Parson combined micro, macro, generalized theories. Merton talking about middle range theories. Then we have discussed about C. Wright Mills, scientific humanistic approach. Karl Popper, inductive deductive approach. 1990, many fields are mixed with sociology, clinical sociology, criminal sociology, sociology of health, industrial sociology, and the scope of sociology is still widening. Okay, and it is unlimited. We are permeating through each and every discipline. So that's about this topic. It's a very simple topic. Don't make it complex. And at this point of time, in fact, I don't want you to mug up or I don't want you to write an answer for this. I've given you something. Just keep it with you. Just have one reading because all these things is what we are going to discuss in future. So once we do that in future, automatically you will be in a position to write a very good answer rather than mugging up and reproducing the same. Okay, any doubts we can discuss now?
Sir, could you repeat how Weber defined scope of sociology and that connection with social action, meaning attached by actor? That could you repeat once more?
Yeah, I will say now once, but actually you will understand it better when we discuss about Weber. What Weber says is the scope of sociology is to study social action. What is social action and all we will discuss. There are definition, there are condition, but understand we all are doing social action here. Okay, so Weber says you study social action. What is the purpose of studying social action? You have to establish the cause and effect, means why you are doing this action and what is the effect. For example, you are doing an action here, you are sitting in the class, you are attending the class, right? Why you are doing this, you have to know. What will be the effect, you have to know. This is the role of a sociologist. And how to establish this? The better way to establish this is understand the meanings attached by the actor to this action. What is the meaning you attach to your action? When you are sitting in the class, what is the meaning which is there in your mind? Because you want to write the exam and you want to pass the exam. So once you can establish the meaning, you can easily understand what will be the cause and effect. But you don't worry about this. We will discuss this in detail, how to establish cause and effect. For that, what methods to be used. There are different concepts. Weber saying Verstehen is one method, ideal type is another method, causal pluralism, causal probabilism, comparative analysis. So much of other concepts we need to discuss, but only the name is difficult, not the concepts. Okay? So,
Okay, sir.
yeah. What's your name?
My name is Varsha.
Okay.